I've got some Saturday hauling to share with you guys today. I think it's been like 2 weeks since my last haul video, so I've got quite a few items, and then I'm going to do my best to try to maintain the shine throughout the video, but it is really hot and the humidity index is way up there, so I'm just going to be shiny. If you guys follow me on Instagram, I posted a picture of a tornado. I was just over at my mom's house and one of those little skinny tornadoes was coming out of the clouds, and then that one got sucked back up and another one came and actually hit the ground, and I was like, oh my gosh. I was debating whether or not this video was going to happen today between the heat, trying to stay like not all sweaty looking on camera, and then tornadoes. I'm like, but I gotta make it happen. So I'm going to make it happen for you guys today. So let me start off with an order I placed at charlottetilbury.com. She released a new Bar of Gold palette, and there's 3 skin gilding highlighters. This is the outside box packaging. It's housed in really pretty plastic packaging, and then in the back there you've got 1, 2, 3 with the shades on there. There's the original Bar of Gold, which I do have, and it's actually one of my favorite gold highlighters because it's light enough for my skin tone while still maintaining that gold factor. That's one of the problems that I have with a lot of gold highlighters, and it's that baked jelly type formula, which is one of my favorite on the skin. The number 2 shade is called Rose Gold, and the number 3 one is called Gold Bullion. I have got a mixture of these 2 shades on the top of my cheekbones today, and then I used the Rose Gold shade kind of on the other little high points of my face. For the top of my cheekbones especially, I like to have a shade that's going to kind of lift. I started out with the Rose Gold, and it's just a little, it blended really into my skin with like a shift of a tiny bit more deep depth to it, so that's why I ended up mixing them together for the top of my cheeks. Other than that, I've been wearing the original Bar of Gold quite a bit this week, as you can kind of see. So let me give you some swatches. I really like this. I don't feel that there's glitter in here, but there's a very, very high shine with that baked jelly type formula to it. I don't see chunks. They're very smooth feeling highlighters. So those are the 3 shades, and then I'll swatch it next to the original Bar of Gold as well. Again, one of my favorite formulas. This one here, I still gotta factor how I'll use that guy right there, maybe as kind of an eyeshadow or something. And then here's the original Bar of Gold, which I've used quite a bit of. You can see right there. The original Bar of Gold comes with 0.15 ounces of product, and then each shade in the palette is 0.08 ounces of product. So you're getting slightly less per shade inside of the palette, but you're getting 3 shades. And then she came out with a new shade of her Matte Revolution lipstick, and it's called Sunset Lover, and it's kind of like a coral shade. Here's the box packaging. I did wear this twice this week, and it took some building up to get the color, but it wore really well throughout the day. Again, it is one of her matte formulas, and it's not so drying that I can't wear, because I typically don't wear like matte liquid lipsticks or anything like that, but this formula's got some silicones in it, so it remains kind of, it's almost, I wouldn't call it super matte. It's more like that satin type of a finish to the lips. For me, it works really great because it has a matte look to it while still being comfortable on the lips. So this is her new shade in Sunset Lover, and it goes together with her Lipchy in Pink Venus perfectly. So I did wear this twice a week. I don't have it on my lips today. I kind of wore some pinky colors, but I really do like the Charlotte Tilbury lipsticks. Her Matte Revolution formula I really like for a matte lipstick because, again, it's comfortable. And then her regular formula is very similar to the Tom Ford lipsticks and also the Estee Lauder lipsticks. But one of the biggest differences that I've found, because I've had some Charlotte Tilbury lipsticks for a while, as well as Tom Ford and Estee Lauder, the Charlotte Tilbury ones, none of the ones that I have, and I have purchased her lipsticks since she first launched them. I like shipped them over from Selfridges. None of them have went off, where I've had several Tom Ford and Estee Lauder lipsticks go off, and I love that formula. So I kind of think, you know, I've backed off on buying Tom Ford lipsticks and Estee Lauder lipsticks, but not Charlotte Tilbury lipsticks. I'm like running back and forth from the air conditioner. Keeping on highlighters, I swatched this in the Ulta store, and I really liked one of the shades in here that was limited to this palette. So when they had a 20% off coupon released recently, so I went ahead and purchased it. It's the Laura Geller Life Glows On Illuminator palette. This is the outside box packaging, and then inside it has got 3 of the swirl highlighters. They're smaller. They're 0.07 ounces or 2 grams each, but this shade in the middle was so pretty. It's one of those gold shades. It's light enough for my skin tone. I wore it yesterday and it's super pretty. Opal Crush, I believe, is a new one as well. well. Diamond Dust I have in the full-size formula. These are smaller than the originals. It was a little difficult to get my highlighter brush in there, but I did manage. It's got a cardboard packaging that's got that holographic like or look to it, or opal look to it. And this is also that baked gelée formula, which I think is just absolutely stunning on the skin. This one has a really strong pink duochrome to it, pinkish purple. And then this one's the pretty gold. And then this one is Diamond Dust, which has been released before. So that one's Diamond Dust, a little bit more pink, and then the Opal Crush is a little bit more purple. But I really like the fact that this had a lot of gold to it, and I knew it was going to be light enough on for the top of my cheekbones. So that is the Laura Geller Life Glows On highlighter palette. And then the brand Ofra released a new highlighter, as well as they repackaged, or kind of redid their brand. So now their highlighters come in this type of packaging as opposed to this one. This is the Pillow Talk highlighter. I'll go ahead and swatch the new Star Island highlighter with the Pillow Talk highlighters so you can kind of see the difference. This is beautiful. These Ofra highlighters, they're a powder formula, and they provide a really, really highlighted look to the top of the cheekbones. I've got 3 of these so far. So this one is the Star Island, and then you can see the packaging, which I do like the new packaging better than the old packaging. It feels a little bit more expensive, which Ofra products I think are kind of expensive. So again, a little bit of gold in there. And this is light enough for my skin tone. I just think it's super stunning. So that's the new Star Island from Ofra. And then let me go ahead and swatch it next to Pillow Talk, also from Ofra. That's in the old packaging there, which has got more of a pink tone to it. Then I finally got my hands on the light shade of the new Dior, it's the Dior Backstage Brow Palette. I had tried twice to order this from Sephora, and both times I was sent the dark, so I finally called them and I'm like, can you just do like what it takes to get me the light shade, because it's just not happening for me. So I finally got it. This is what I have through my brows today, and I'm going to go ahead and compare it against the old version. You guys have heard, I've used up an entire palette of this old version, and I can say that I do prefer the new packaging better to the old packaging, because I never use the applicators that are in here anyway, and I like this little, it's kind of a little sleek palette right here. The shades that are in the new one are the same colors that are in the old one. What I did find was the newer formula has a little bit more creamy feeling, and it's not as dry as the older formula. It can be good and bad. You just have to watch kind of how much you put your brush into the newer one, because it will pick up more product the more you kind of tap into it. Whereas the older version, I kind of had to really push my brush in there to get the product to be picked up. I like both versions of these. Again, this is one of my favorite brow products, both of the ones from Dior. But I did notice that the formula is a little bit thicker and softer and creamier compared to the older one, which I don't believe is available anymore anyway. So here they are side by side. The shade over here is a wax, and this one's a wax. So then I'll just go ahead and swatch the brow powder shades for you guys right there. Again, this is what I have on my eyes today, and each section is 0.035 ounces. The first palette that I used from Dior for the brows lasted me forever. I think it lasted like close to 2 years before I had to buy another one. And then next up, I did place another order on the Melt Cosmetics website, and I purchased the 27 eyeshadow palette, which I thought I would go ahead and swatch for you guys today. I know that I had filmed that Gemini palette video, and I was going to post that, like edit it up and post it and stuff like that. And when I'd watched the footage, I noticed that kind of my opinion changed a little bit on it, because it was a first impressions video. And also the palette sold out on their website, and I haven't heard anything about a restock, so I don't know if they're going to restock it or not. So I ended up not posting that video. I hope you guys are fine with that. But I thought I would go ahead and swatch the 27 eyeshadow palette, which I believe is still available. I like the Melt Cosmetics eyeshadows. I did buy a couple of their stacks as well previously that you guys might have seen me swatch. I think that the pigmentation's great, and they blend really easily on the eyes. But as I had used them, they are very, very crumbly type of eyeshadows. Like when you put your brush in them, a bunch of product gets kicked up, and I do get quite a bit of fallout with these shadows. And again, I like the shades in both of the palettes, but I did find that upon using it, I think that they could have went a little bit further with making the shades more distinguishable. Like some of these shades are just so close in tone, which makes it really easy to get a nice blown out eye, but at the same time I can do that with like 2 shades instead of like 5. So I kind of wish, especially in both of the palettes, the Gemini and this one, there is no matte brow bone highlight, and there isn't a shimmery highlight either that's light enough for my skin tone, which is something I look for in a eyeshadow palette. Again, I like the eyeshadow formula. I think they could have been curated just a little bit better. So each time I've used the palettes, I've had to bring in other shades to kind of complete the look, just for how I like to do eyeshadows. And I really hope they take feedback and restock the Gemini palette, because I know a lot of people really wanted to get that eyeshadow palette. So let me go ahead and swatch this guy for you guys. I will say that this palette, compared to the Gemini palette, feels like it's pressed a little bit harder than the Gemini, which is good, but it still kicks up quite a bit of product. My stacks too are very, they kick up a ton of product when I use them. It's just like, so there's the first 4 shades. Like I said, pigmentation is great, and they blend out like a dream. They really do. There's the first 4. This one is shimmery. I will say that the shimmer shades in this palette are both pressed a little bit nicer than one of the shades in the Gemini palette. That one shade was just a crumble, man. They're very soft. And then these last 2 shades. So there are all the swatches. I really wish that they could have put some lighter highlight shades, both matte and shimmer, in both of the palettes, because that's something that I was looking for each time that I had used them. I will say you do get a massive amount of product in here though. There's 0.73 ounces of product inside this eyeshadow palette. And then the other item that I got was another one of their blushes, and this is in the shade Cali Dream. This is what the packaging looks like. I bought this because I didn't want to pay for the shipping. I was like, I might as well get something for my money. So I added this to it, and I did purchase the purple blush in one of my other orders. And these are really nice. They blend out nicely on the skin. They have a ton of pigmentation, but again, the formula is very, it's soft and it kicks up a lot of product. So like you barely dab your brush in there and you're going to pick up quite a bit of product. So there's a little bit of caution when going to use them. The plus on these is they do blend out on the skin very easily. So you can kind of see there how soft they are by the chunks that are kind of coming off of them. Let me blend it out a bit. This is the blush that I have on my cheeks today. And again, it's the shade Cali Dream. Next up, Pixi sent me over this really pretty PR package. It's the Glow in a Box. And there are 5 glitter top coat type eyeshadows. And there are 2 duo highlighters in here. This box is just too hard to hold up. These here are some products that I have been wearing since I've got this PR box, and I was actually looking to purchase them in Target and they didn't have them out yet. So I want to say a big thank you to Pixi Beauty. So the 2 highlighters, they're called Glowy Gossamer Duos. You got Subtle Sunrise, which is this guy, and then you've got Delicate Dew, which is the other one. There's a deeper and a lighter shade in each of these. The Delicate Duo, this one blends into the lighter shade in this Delicate Dew one blends into my skin to a more like natural coloring with a super high shine. And then the gold shade in the Subtle Sunrise, which I have used, you can see there's kind of a dip in there. That one works out pretty good for me. These highlighters are super, super intense. And the way that they feel, they kind of have like a cream to powder type feel. So I thought for sure that there was going to be like some silicones in them. No silicones in them. They've got like a vitamin E and some other more natural type ingredients in them. No silicones. So let me go ahead and give you guys some swatches. This is the Delicate Dew one. I've worn it a couple times. The deeper shade in both of them are too deep for my skin tone for a highlighter on the cheeks, but I can use them on other points of the cheeks and it looks okay. I kind of wish, no, I don't kind of wish, I do wish that there was at least one more duo that was lighter than the 2 that came out, and another darker duo actually would probably be quite helpful too. These are kind of mid-tone colors. I've used the other one much more than I've used these 2. But look at that! That is crazy. It's crazy intense metallic highlighters. They're really, really beautiful and they're thin. They're a thin texture so they don't look heavy on the skin at all. So that one is Delicate Dew, 0.29 ounces per palette. And then here is the other one in Subtle Sunrise. And this is the shade that I've used the most out of the 4. Isn't that crazy? The shine is just nuts. That's the color that I've used the most of. So that one is Subtle Sunrise. And there's Delicate Dew. So pretty. And then the other products are the Liquid Fairy Lights, and there's 5 shades of these. And these type of products I've been going nuts over. I've got tons of the Stila Glitter and Glows, and I've got a bunch from Colourpop and Wet n Wild. These are like glitter toppers, at least that's how I use them. And I've used several of these ones as well. And they're very shiny, very similar type of product, like a glitter top coat over an eyeshadow. But I did find that you kind of have to watch how much you press it on, because if you do it too much, it will lift up the shadow that you have underneath. So that's just something to be aware of. Otherwise, these are some really pretty glitter type top coat eyeshadows. So this first one is in the shade Rose Gold, and there's 0.18 ounces of product in each of these. So this one is Rose Gold right there. Let's see how shiny it is. These ones don't have quite as much glitter as the Stila ones, but they do have glitter in them. Each time I've used them as a topper, I didn't get any fallout on my face throughout the day, which I don't with the Stila either, but I've heard some people say that they have gotten fallout using those Stila Glitter and Glows. I use them as the very last step when I'm doing like my eyeshadow, so that I don't run a brush over them when they're already on, because then I will get glitter fallout. But this next one is called Bare Brilliance. This has got silver glitters in like a taupey brown base. And then you've got Crystalline, which is a white with silver glitters. The next one is called Sunray. This is the one I've actually worn the most. It's a gold with silver glitters in it. And then the last shade is called Passion Light, and this is like a bronze base with silver glitter in it. There. Really, really pretty. I love these glitter top coats. It makes putting glitter on the eyes so much easier for me. I love super glittery, shiny eyes, but I never like to deal with the hassle of like loose glitters. So these are just doing it for me. Then I placed an order on Beautylish because I wanted to try out some more of the Smith Cosmetics brushes. Now, when I hauled the last ones, I had mentioned that the bristle quality wasn't that of something like my handmade Japanese brushes. However, they are still very soft and very nice. And one of the things that I just think is super cool about the Smith Cosmetics brushes is the shapes are really, really unique. And I find like this one, for instance, this new one, the 235 brush, it's kind of like the, what's that domed blending brush that everybody loves from MAC? You know the one I'm talking about. It's kind of like that, except for it's got a point to it, which makes it really easy to do a little bit more of a pinpoint blend, and then a little bit more pressure will give you a more blown out blend to it. So that's something that I've really been enjoying about the Smith brushes, is the shapes are very, very unique. I don't have brushes like these in my collection. I have one that's shaped similar to this, the 2220, but it's not as thin, and this is a really soft brush too, this 2220, but if memory serves me, I read on the website that it is blended with a synthetic as well. So here's the 235. Right here is the 235, and here is the 220 right here. And I got the 220 brush because I love the Isom G29, which is this guy right here, for blending out underneath my eyebrow with like a brow bone highlight, and then it kind of buffs the shade underneath it as well. But sometimes I find that this one's just a little bit too large, and it blends a little bit too much, so I got this one with hopes of getting a little bit more precision when blending out that under eyebrow shade. And I used it today. I've used both these brushes for the first time today, and I really like them. And one of the other things I really like is the handle. I paint and stuff like that, so I do typically hold my brushes a little bit further back and kind of like this, I guess, and these just fit in my hand like really good, like a glove. And I really like the way that they feel. I like the handles, and so I think that I'm probably going to purchase a few more. I'm not as nuts about the face brush that I purchased because it is a firm, kind of more scratchy brush, but that does help pick up those baked jelly type products easier. If you have trouble with picking up, a really soft brush is going to have a harder time with those baked jelly compared to something that's a little bit more stiff. And I mean, I hate to say it like this, but a little bit more stiff and scratchy, which that face highlighter brush that I got, and I used that today with the Charlotte Tilbury Gelée highlighter, and just running it across the top of my cheekbones just felt a little rough. And because I'm so used to using a really soft brush on top of my cheeks. So other than that though, I really have been enjoying the eye brushes. I think I have a sweat mustache. I hope you guys don't mind. Since we're talking about brushes, I did purchase the 2 new Fenty Beauty brushes that came out with her Moroccan Spice eyeshadow palette, which I also got, and I'll show you in a minute. And these are really nice. I really like the Fenty Beauty makeup brushes. The one thing that I don't like, however, is the price tag on them. I think that for synthetic brushes, they're far too expensive for kind of what they are. But with that being said, I do like the brushes themselves. The Kabuki brush, this one right here that was meant for her body bronzer, this has kind of become my favorite brush to set foundation. I can just pounce it in the powder and it covers so much surface area that it makes setting my face super, super quick. So I use this guy a ton. So anyway, I purchased the 210 brush, which is this guy right here, and it's like a fluffy blender, super, super soft. And then the other one is the 200 brush right here, which is more like a flat shader, and I've been using this to pack on eyeshadow on the lids. They both work very, very nicely, very much like a synthetic brush would if you're familiar with using synthetic brushes. One of the other things that I think is super cool is where the ferrule meets the handle right there. It's kind of got a different shape to it, which makes them unique, because typically your ferrule is just, you know, a flat, you know, straight across the top, where these ones kind of have an angle to them, which I think makes them look kind of classy. So, and then the blush nude shade is pretty. So next up is the Moroccan Spice eyeshadow palette. There are 15 shades in here that are 0.03 ounces per shade, which is on the smaller end in terms of size of the pan, but you do get 15 shades in here. The packaging on this guy is stunning. I think it's very pretty. And then inside here are your eyeshadows. This is the palette that I have on today. I've kind of been wearing it all week since I picked it up. And of the 15 shades in here, 6 of them are true matte eyeshadows. You've got this kind of peachy one right here that appears to be a matte, but it's more of a satin finish. And then you got some really high shine glitters. This guy in here doesn't have a matte brow bone highlight either, so I did incorporate the Burberry Trench eyeshadow in my eye look, and I kind of have every time I've used this. But other than that, I've had really good luck with the shadows in terms of pigmentation and blending. I do get fallout with the eyeshadows, so I make sure to try to tap my brush off. But other than that, I really like this palette. The look that came out today, I was kind of like iffy about, but at the same time, it's a little bit unique. I like the fact that when you throw odd color combinations together, it kind of turns out pretty. I did put a little bit of a Stila glitter and glow over my lid just to kind of amp up the shine a bit. Let me go ahead and give you guys some swatches of this guy. This shade right here is so pretty. So those are the top 4, and we'll do these ones. I think the only shades that I haven't worn is like this gray, and then maybe this one right here. All the other colors I've worn so far. I can feel a sweat bead running down my back. Probably TMI, my apologies. And then the third row. I will say that red shade, when I blend it out, does pull more on the pink side than it does kind of on the red side in this last row here. So there are the swatches for the Moroccan Spice eyeshadow palette from Fenty Beauty. I've been getting along with it really well. I've been enjoying using it. I know people have said like if you cover up the blues, it's just like another neutral palette. I like the inclusion of the odd shade. Like I said, it makes it fun to dip through colors. So that's everything for my haul today. I hope you guys enjoyed this video and found it helpful. Thank you for watching. Do not forget to wear sunscreen, and I'll see you guys later. Bye.